Good morning, Stampers. It's Elizabeth from StampScrapAndMore.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator located in Canada, and it is a perfect day to stamp. It's early in the morning, it's kind of misty, dewy, and I really don't think the weather's going to be great, so I am full of beans today, and I plan on doing a lot of stamping and getting prepared for some events coming up in June. So today's card we're going to make using some new product. We are going to be playing with the Jar of Flowers stamp set, and I participated in a swap, and this was my swap card, and I had somebody ask me from the swap how to go about making it, so I thought I'd do a video tutorial. And now that I have mailed all the swap cards out and they have arrived to the recipients, I'm going to share with you the card. It's really simple, don't get excited, but I love it. It's clean, it's classic, it's got dimension. Who wants to see the card? Let's get over. Okay, so this is the card, and I know it's really a simple card, but check out that bouquet of flowers. And if I turn it to the side, you will see it's got dimension to it. So that bouquet looks like it's flowing over the actual jar of flowers. So we are going to make that card today, and I'm going to show you how to do it. Alrighty, get your pen and paper handy. I say that all the time. You are going to need the Jar of Flowers stamp set, and for this card we're going to be using this stamp. And did you know that this was a reversible stamp set? So this is the back side of this. So you've got two stamps. You just flip it over and you get that image. The same with this and the same with this stripe. So I'm using this stamp, the jar, and we're going to be using the flowers with the bouquet with the sunflowers in it. So that's what we're going to be using. We're going to be obviously using the punch. Oops, you can see my camera in there. Okay, we're going to be using the new Tasteful Labels dies, and we are going to be using these two, the two sort of stitched scallop, and I'm going to show you what they are actually because I've already cut them out. We're going to be using that one. You can see it's got a really sort of detailed stitched edge, and the smaller one. And we're also going to be using the label die, which is this one here. And for the sentiment, I've chosen sentiment from the Field of Flowers. For this one, I'm going to use Thinking of You, and then on the inside, we're going to do Always. You could also, like, anything that would fit into that space. You could do My Friend Always, like a really sweet card. So, and that's what we're going to use for the sentiment. Alrighty, so let me get my thoughts together here. So the Whisper White Thick is the card base, and it is, as always, 8.5 by 5 1/4, folded in half and scored at 4 1/4. No, sorry. 8.5 by 5 1/2, scored in half at 4 1/4. Even when I write them down, I get them wrong. The Whisper White Thick, the first layer, is 4 by 5 1/4. That's going to go on the outside. You need a scrap piece of paper to cut out the jar right here, and your scrap piece of paper will also cut out that scallop and that scallop and that banner flag. So, oh, sorry. Yeah, so you're going to cut out the jar and then these three items from your scrap piece of Whisper White, which I have already done. Well, I haven't done the jar yet. So let's do the jar. Let's do the jar. And so I've got the jar. And there he is. And so if I wanted to do the other side, I would flip it over and I would get the side without the hash lines. But I wanted the hash lines. And we are just going to stamp this. Make sure you've got it nice and inked up. We want a nice crisp image. And we're going to stamp anywhere like that. Perfect. And you know, while we've got the black out, I'm going to stamp the Thinking of You. And again, I'm going to take the Thinking of You, I've got it mounted, and I am going to stand up so I can get it straight, or lean over, whichever I can do easiest. Thinking of You, like that. Okay, we've got Thinking of You. I'm going to put that aside, and I'm going to put that block aside and that block aside so we don't get ink on us, because I'm notorious for getting the black ink on me. And now I'm going to punch the jar out. Stampin' Up! Did have a jar set a few years ago that had a die. I believe this is smaller. This is a smaller jar. And this suite also comes with, I'll show you. We're not using it in this one, but it also comes with little bubbles. Not little bubbles, but bubbles like that. So if you wanted to, you could create a card and have it put treats in it, or I've even seen someone put water in it. And I like it for an actual jar of flowers, so I haven't played with those yet though. So now we're going to punch out the jar. I love bundles that have punches that go with it, because it just makes life so much easier, especially in the class environment, and they're usually a pretty good price point. Okay, and there we've got the jar. And before I keep going with the jar, I'm going to take the Dark Pool Party, and all of those hash lines, I am going to color them in the Dark Pool Party blends. I'm just going to outline them. And it's just kind of, I think it looks like a little bit of water glistening off the camera if it hits the sunshine right. That's my imagination. Okay, and one last thing, because for me it's all about the detail on a card. And I'm going to just get out my fine tip glue. And again, all those hash lines, I'm going to highlight it in blue, in the fine tip glue. And I'm going to make sure I've got, yep, it's coming out. And then we're going to set this aside and it can dry. Sometimes, you know, you make a card and you just keep adding details to it. It's the little things that when somebody receives the card and they look at it, they may not necessarily see this little bit of detail at the beginning, but you know, they'll look at the card and they'll see a shine and they'll say, "Oh, look." So it's just one of those, like you can hardly even see it, but I know it's there. Just little things of water. And there it is on the card. You can see just this shine there, how it's this one up here, how it's kind of glistening. Oh, and the other thing that we also need is the linen thread, and I'm going to teach you how to make a billy bow. And billy bows, I'm going to keep stamping while I'm at it. Billy bows are. There used to be a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator named Billy Moan. She lived in the States, and this was her design. She's no longer a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. She actually retired. And I just love how she makes her fluffy bows. So I give her credit whenever I make a card and use the Billy Bow. Okay, so now I'm taking my black memento, and I'm inking up the bouquet of flowers. And I'm keeping it towards the top because this is going to go about there, right? So I'm going to keep this up about here. And there's a little bottom, it's like almost flat. And now I'm going to press down really hard. Oh, perfect image, right? Like that. And so this will get popped up like that over the jar. But we're not finished there. Okay, so now I'm going to take my Stamparatus And how did I do this? How did I do this? How did I do this? I am going to take my Stamparatus and I'm going to stamp this image, and this might be overkill, guys, but I want to make sure that the flowers are lined up correctly. So I'm going to stamp this image like that, okay? And there's the image on the Stamparatus. And I need to clean this block off. My allergies, oh my God, they're driving me crazy. I've taken a reactant, so I hope that they dry up, but ooh, it's been bad the last couple of days. Okay, so how did I do this? So actually, you know what? I don't even need to put the block on here. So yeah, I do. I'm trying to think how I did this. Okay, now so I'm going to take the flower and I am going to just outline it like that. Actually, you know what? You could have done this. You could have stamped, put this on and then stamped anywhere. I kind of forgot how I did this. Okay, so as long you've got the image on here. And now I'm going to take the large of the circle and I need a marker. I need a pen. Oh, here's one here. I need a pen. And now I'm going to take the largest circle and I want to see where it is that it's going to be center. So I think that is pretty good center. And I'm just going to outline the bottom rim just in case it moves. Yeah, I'm just like that. Okay. Now I'm going to ink up this. And because I'm stamping right on top of here, I can't put a magnet down because if I put a magnet on here, the stamp wouldn't fit, right? So you just have to, that's why I marked it in case it moved. Now I'm going to ink up the sunflower again. And now I'm going to stamp on top. Okay. And there we have the sunflower. Now we're going to do it with the little one. You know what I realized? There's my, I think my other, yep, my other magnet's behind here. Wasn't sitting flat. Okay, and now you can't see it, but there is where that the larger circle was with my pen mark. Now I'm going to put the smaller circle down, and I'm going to put it so that it's in the center of the larger circle. And we don't need to mark this. It may not be totally center, but it's going to make it easier to, when you line up the 3 layers so that everything gets lined up properly. And there is the third, it's the top one. So let me get rid of this. Okay, and I'm going to get rid of that stamp set, don't need it anymore. And so ultimately this is going to get colored, and then you have to play around and figure out where they go. Is it like that? And then this one will get popped up, and then this one will get popped up, and that's where you'll get your 3D. So let's start coloring. For this flower, we will have to color everything that is outside of that circle because it's going to get covered up, right? So the colors that we're using are Old Olive, not Daffodil Delight, Mango Melody. I wanted a rich color, Crumb Cake, and the light Pumpkin Pie. So let's start. I actually, you know, I don't think I used much of the dark Old Olive, so let's start with the light Old Olive. And this is the fern. And some of the flowers you're going to have to kind of figure out what they are and where they lie, and what's a flower, what's a petal. And I'm just going to color quickly here. After I colored a few, I got to figure out what was a leaf, what was a petal, what was a pine cone. At least I think I did anyhow. Over here. And I tended to do all of the green first. Okay, well, speaking of green, there may be more. As you cut it down, it became harder to figure out what was what, I'll be honest with you. So sometimes after I've colored all of this one, I'd put this one on top and say, okay, that's a leaf, or that's a petal, or that's a pine cone. And then this one, that's a pine cone. Okay, let's do the pine cone, because there's only one pine cone. And so this is the pine cone. Actually, you know what? I'm calling it a pine cone, and I'm coloring it like it's a pine cone. So that's the dark crumb cake, and here's the dark crumb cake, and there's like little dots on there, so I'm making it like it's shadow. And this one, no, I don't think there's a pine cone on there. I hope you're having a chance to stamp today. I actually love my weekends where I'm not working and I have the energy and desire to stamp, because during the weekdays sometimes it's really hard. Okay, let's put this for inspiration here, and I'm going to take the blends or the light, what is it, the light pumpkin pie, and some of my blends need replacing. Did you know in the new annual catalog, the blends are by grouping only. You won't be able to buy singles anymore. And I think this is where it gets tricky. I think that's part of it. See, when you start laying it on like that, you'll see what is a flower and what is a leaf, and that one goes like that. See, there's no pine cones, no leaves, no flowers there. Okay. Now we're going to go with the dark Mango Melody first. And I got to tell you, my Mango Melody, the dark, needs to be replaced. The brush tip has had it. So with the dark Mango Melody, I am all of the lines in the flower, I'm kind of highlighting them so that they are darker. And then even the stems or the leaves, petals, there you go, petals that are behind, I'm darkening them out so that they look like they're behind. And you can play, and I like sunflowers, so that's why I chose the sunflowers. But sunflowers, you can use whatever color. Look really pretty in purples. I know it wouldn't be sunflowers, but that's okay. And I think that's that. Let me just double check. Yeah, this area right here is tricky as to what's what, I'll be honest. Okay, and then let's do it with this. And it looks really pretty when it's all assembled. And it's one of those that really looks nice in real life, IRL. Is that oh, I missed a green there. As you start to color, you'll think, oh, what is that? And then I realized I missed some of the leaves in that one, so I have to go back. I found it easier to start coloring the leaves and the pine cones first and try and eliminate those elements, the leaves, the pine cone, and this orangey flower, to eliminate some of the pieces. Now let me go back with the green, and it's this green right here. I think that's it. Okay, and now we're going to go with the yellow. Look, I'm ending up coloring everything, but that's you get the idea. I guess it's easier in the end to color. And that way, if you're making one card, you can see what all the elements are when you're coloring the other cutout pieces. I'm just going really fast here. I'm not being very particular. You guys can take your time. Nothing worse than watching people color. You can fast forward. There we go, fast forward, that's the idea. And now, I'm going to do this one. And as I do this one, I'll see more items that maybe need to be colored something different. That are maybe a petal or not a petal, a leaf. Yeah, I see. Oh yeah. And then the last one. See, it's coming to life, Stampers. It's coming to life. Now, if Stampin' Up! Was still had the Dazzling Diamonds, I would take this card up even further and I would fill the center of the flowers with fine tip glue and Dazzling Diamonds. But they don't, so I had to cut back on that. And on this card, the outside card, I'm actually adding a little bit more of the dark Mango Melody, just to give it a little bit more depth, because it's going to be on the top. Okay, and now the inside of the flowers, I'm taking the light, I think this is what I did. Yeah, the light pumpkin pie, and I'm just coloring in the inside of the flowers. I had one of those, wait, did you do something wrong moments? But I realized it wasn't. I thought it was coloring on something that I shouldn't have been coloring, but it was one of those whoops-a-daisy moments. Okay. So that's really quick coloring. If I was, I missed a flower. I missed a flower right here. I missed a flower right there. And I missed some green right here. Oh yeah, I was doing too quick. And I missed some yellow right here. Our Mango Melody. I love Mango Melody. It's a real cross between Daffodil Delight and Pumpkin Pie. Okay, now I'm done. Okay, now let's get back to the jar. And, I need my tape. Okay, so what I'm going to do for tape, I put my tape. I'm just going to, on the back of the jar, I'm just going to put a couple things of tape, like that. Because I'm going to take the linen thread and wrap it around once, twice onto the back of the jar, and just hold it down there with the tape. We're going to put a dimensional over it, so I just want to hold down the edges with some tape. So that'll be the front, and that's the back. And so I'm going to get my dimensionals out, and I'm going to put a dimensional on right here to hold that edge together, and on the bottom, and then I'm going to put one in the center. And now we're going to layer this. You have to, cut an edge off. One of the back is too long. So we're going to dry fit it. So we want it like there, because then this one is going to go over the edge like that. Okay, so you want it a little bit hiding over those flowers, so that when this goes on, it's going to be over the lip of the jar. You have to play with it and see how high up you want it. Okay. stand up so I get it straight. Now I know why some stampers have stand-up desks. Okay, there we go. All right, the first one. And now we're going to put a couple dimensionals on this one. If you're good at puzzles, this may be the card for you because you have to align the puzzle pieces. So in this card, here's the pine cone or whatever it is. I don't know what it is. Make sure that you don't have a dimensional that's going to go over the jar. There you go. Where's the pine cone? There it is. So now we're going to line it up so that the pine cone lines up and the flowers line up. And I will admit, it's a little fussy. You know what you can do? I forgot to tell you. With these pieces, and I just noticed it now, it's totally up to you. If you want to take your blend and just on the outside edge, and I'm just using the Mango Melody just because it's one of the common colors that's in here, and just cut down the the whiteness that is on the edge so that you don't see it. Sometimes I forget what I do when I do it. That'll do. There we go. And then this one, we're going to do the same here. And I'm going to put one dimensional. And this is the one that, is that it? No, I think this one goes up here. There we go. And we are going to pop that up like that. And now we're going to do a bow. And we're going to just cover up this edge right here with the bow. So here's my Billy bow. 2 fingers. Thank you, Billy Moan. 2 fingers, leave a little tail. 2 fingers, 1, 2. How many did I do? Oh, I'm going to do 3. And then bring in your 3rd finger and go 1, 2, 3. And you're going to cut off the edge. You're also going to cut off while you're there another string, and that's what's going to tie it. So now you're going to go to the top of your finger, and it's hard when the ribbon, when the twine is curly. So now you've got the big loop and you've got the little loop, and you've got these two tails. There we go. Big loop, little loop, 2 tails. And you're going to take the big loop at the top, get the little loop and smush it down to your fingers like that. And now we're going to take the other string and we're going to tie it together. And I need my teeth for this, sorry, so I'm going to go off camera, but I'm going to, actually maybe not, maybe I can do it. I'm going to tie it. Yeah, I need my teeth. Sorry. And it's just to pull the bow together. And now you're going to knot it. Make sure you're getting the two ends that belong together, and tie a knot. And now you've got a bow. And we're going to pull the strings down like that. And now you've got a bow like that that just needs a little bit of fluffing, especially with the curly ribbon, the curly baker's twine, or the curly linen thread. And I could spend hours doing this, fluffing my bows. I drive people crazy. There we go. And sometimes you have to pull the edges left and right, but when it's all said and done, there is the bow. There's the Billy bow. Isn't that pretty? And I'm going to get some of the Tombow glue, making sure that, nope, it's plugged. Is this one plugged? Oh my gosh, Elizabeth. Oops. Tombow glue. even if there we go. And I'm going to put a little bit of adhesive right there. And you can use your glue dot if you like. And I'm going to hold that down. And you are going to cut off some of the excess. And where's my card base? I should have probably mounted this first. So let's see if I can do it. It's just easier to put stuff on adhesive on the back when there's not so many layers on the front. But okay, and why does this not look right? Did I not cut something right? Oh, you know what I did? Well, it doesn't matter. I used my scrap piece of paper to stamp on instead of my piece of whisper white that I cut out. So I used my scrap piece for the jar instead of. Yep, I did. But that's okay. It looks the same, except for this little off on the measurements on the side. And now the thinking of you, we are going to put a dimensional on the left hand side. I started, and I should do it more often, whenever I use a scrap piece of paper, and I didn't do it this time. So say this was my scrap piece, I usually will do that. And that way I know it's my scrap piece, and that's what I should be using for scrap. I shouldn't be using another, especially if you've got two pieces of white that are the same size and one's meant as scrap. Lesson learned. And now I'm going to put just a little bit, since I have Tombow out, a little bit of Tombow on the other side. And there we go. Thinking of you. Oops. Thinking of you. Thinking of you. And then the always on the inside. Isn't that pretty? That was my swap card. I hope you guys like it. Like I said, it's really clean, but there we go. Always. It's a really clean card. So close up, thinking of you. You can see the detail in that card. And then always. What do you think? I actually really liked it. The light's not great right in here right now. There's too much light coming in. But so that's my card, and it is using the Jar of Flowers stamp set, which is new in the 2020-2021 annual catalog, and it goes on sale June 3rd. I hope to see you there. I hope to see you excited about the catalog, and lots more inspiration to come. So talk to you again later, and if you have any questions, as always, my name is Elizabeth. I am a Stampin' Up! Independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Canada, and you can contact me by posting a message here or at info@stampscrapandmore.com. And if you give me a thumbs up on this video, I would greatly appreciate it. Take care, and we'll talk to you again soon.